Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Catch-Up. And good evening or good morning, Mr. Jeffrey K. Holbrook, our co-host of the Weekly Catch-Up.
Well, the only thing I'm seeing that it may be wrong, I don't see the live thing showing up on. I'm not seeing the live feed right now on YouTube. Now it's up. Let me see. Here we go. Yay! Okay,
yes,
I got
probably
it.
about nearly a minute
Yeah, it
behind.
just wasn't showing up there. Sorry.
Well, the thing was, one thing I just never know what to do is to have a chat first. But sometimes if you have a chat, you get too much involved. So I thought, let's start the weekly and just get the intro over, so you don't forget to do it, and get back to back straight into the riveting entertainment that's called the Weekly Catch-Up.
Oh, exactly. And this is show number 23, which is near and dear to my heart since number 23 was my basketball number in high school.
Oh, okay. And I just can tell you I've never played basketball in my life. So that's...
I did, and the reason why I limp around so much now, I guess, is because I was such an aggressive player.
Well, I think I think I did pick one up and try it, but I'm so uncoordinated for anything like that. But it's quite strange. Never did anything in sports or anything like that. I was very, very anti-sports. But then when I was 38, I took up ice hockey.
Oh, wow. That's quite a manly sport.
quite a difference on that. But what it was an attempt, and it did work. I also changed a lot of things. I gave up smoking as well at the same time. So I thought, I've got to do something totally different. What if I never... And I used to skate a bit, and I thought, I quite enjoyed skating. And I used to go wild skating. I thought, gee, look at that. I quite enjoyed the skill of the ice hockey, and just thought, that seems to be really good fun. So I thought I'll have to give that one a try. And as I said, 38, and I thought, but the only problem with ice hockey is you can't just give it a go. Like most things, you can pick up a basketball, a pair of shorts, and a singlet, and you can have a play. Bounce a ball and see whether you can get it in the hoop. But with ice hockey, you've got to have the right skates, you've got to have all the body armour, you've got to have all the things, the shorts. You can't just borrow them, the helmet. So you've got to spend $1,500 to $1,600, and then you've got to join a club that you can play with or play against. So it's not that easy just to do it. So the thing is, when you get into that, you're committed, so you really do want to go hell for leather on it. But I must admit, it was one of the best things I've ever done. That was. So.
Yeah, I mean, around here, it's not a big deal. Our big deal was getting into soccer, which I guess you guys would call football. But this area, the younger children are getting into soccer and stuff. It's over the last few years that's really been building around here. But the joke around here about ice hockey is that somebody will look at somebody else and say, I was watching a fight the other day and a hockey game broke out.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? On that, but I must admit that was one of the things that really surprised me, because I'm so meek and mild. But getting on after having a hard day at work or whatever, but getting on the rink and having an ice hockey game where you've just got to bang into people and just yell, and it was really good outlet, because I mean, especially when you don't do that sort of thing, it was quite good just to get that release. And we used to train with the Melbourne Angels, which was the women's ice hockey team. And I can tell people say, "Oh, he's trained with the women's ice hockey team." I tell you what, they taught me a great deal. They were fantastic to play. There's nothing shy about them either. But it was such a great experience. But as I said, that's my main thing for sporting, because I had been riding horses for a long time, and back then I'd sold the horse at the time and got out of it for a while, so I was a bit short on something to do for that. took up the ice hockey. As I said, gave up the cigarettes beforehand, and after running around, it's just so strenuous. You can't possibly be a smoker when you're doing that. It's just too much for it. So, but I'll urge, if anybody's ever done that, been skating, but as I suppose I'm preaching to the converted when you're talking to Americans and Canadians, because it's hockey's all over the place there. But here we're lucky, we've got, well, in Melbourne now it's huge. We've got 3 rinks, which we was lucky if we had 1 before. But I mean, like in Canada, you've got more probably rinks than you would have McDonald's, wouldn't you? I would think that would be the case.
Even though ice sports are not really a big deal around here, we've actually got 2 in the Charleston area that I know of. There's an independent city-owned rink, and then there's, I think, one over at the rec center over in South Charleston. So there's a couple here, even though we don't do so much ice-based sports around here that much. But like you say, it's something that's available for people to do. And as far as like competitions, there's no actual teams around here that I'm aware of, unless, like you say, there's small community concerns or something. But there would be nobody to play. So it's something that is just kind of not so much in this area at all. It's kind of like that movie that was about the Jamaican bobsled team.
That's what, yes.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but just the whole concept of you've got this area that's really hot and arid, and then all of a sudden they have this bobsled team for snow.
Well, it was me. I was never a great player, but like the other members of the team, they said, doesn't matter, you can be like cannon fodder, you can be distract somebody else while the good players can get the puck and get something else. But as I said, you could always play a part on it. But it was just amazed me at how different things you can do, how better I could skate when I was in a game, whereas when I just skated normally it was fairly sedate. But when you've got all the gear on and you're not worried about falling because you've got so much protection, you do so many different things, and the adrenaline kicks in. And I've never been in a sport where you just push yourself so much you just want to throw up, when you just push yourself that far. And I thought I'd never experienced that because I'd never been really sporty on that. But what put me off the ice hockey, well, it was as I said, we didn't have many places here. When we had the one, and then we had another place opened up, and we paid all our money for the season for the year, and they ran off with all our money. The rink was not there. They just left everything standing there and left us all high and dry. So there was a whole league, sort of all these teams had paid the money up front for the coming season for all the games, because they want the money up front. You don't pay weekly, just so to keep the rinks going. So that was just a bit of a letdown for us anyway. So, and then after that, I thought I couldn't be bothered anymore. I was over 40 by then, about 44, so 45. So I thought, I've had a good time. I haven't broken anything yet. So I thought my biggest injury was what was it? Falling down the stairs. It wasn't on the ice. It was just I actually fell up the stairs and nearly hurt the ankle. But I mean, that was about I actually didn't hurt myself on the ice. But very strange indeed. So.
You're just kind of laying down with your arms extended, and it's like you can't get up.
That's right. But the thing was that they had on there, they did also have, we had training sessions, and I tell you, I used to enjoy the training sessions just as much as the games, because we used to have, you have British Bulldog, do you know where sort of, there's people standing in the middle, and somebody's got to get from one end to the other without them pushing you to the ground. That's what dragging you to the ground. Well, if you try that on the ice when you're skating through, and you've got the whole, that taught you stamina on that. And I always used to think,
we would call that running the gauntlet.
Yeah. And there was another exercise that they did, which it was really fascinating in how to do. But what you had to do was skate as hard as you could from one end of the the rink, wanted to skate as fast as you can, and on the centre line, you had to dive like Superman down on the ice, slide, and then before you hit the barrier, get up and stop. Up on,
okay.
Well, because that taught you agility, sort of slide and quickly jump up and stop. Oh, that I tell you, that is hard to do, but that was what you had to do. But it's amazing all the things that you had to do, and just skating, to the quarter line and back quickly, then to the centre line and back, and then to the next 3/4 line and back, and then But I'll tell you, it was so strenuous, but it was quite fun, all that exercise just to do that. But I mean, you don't realise how good a fun it was. And then we used to do weekend ones where we'd have a scrimmage where you did just have an ongoing game where people could just pay a little bit and come in and play. So they'd have team A, team B, oh, you're on that one, and just come and play. You didn't really have any. It wasn't a proper team. You just knew a position. Well, what position am I replacing? Yep, okay, you're on there, and
that makes everything very versatile. It also sets it up to where you get to know the people you'll be playing against in the actual league, and so you can actually form friendships that way, and you get to know each other a little better, and you get I don't know what you call that whenever you pass the puck to somebody else, but you learn the interaction, different people, and the way they would send the puck to you, or the way other people would shoot if you were the goalie guy, or and all that kind of stuff like that. You would just get a variety of styles and different things from all those different people, and you would learn what other people do in their own positions. That's pretty cool. It
was good, but we quickly learnt when we saw the people in other teams. We quickly learnt, we haven't got a chance today, because we'd say there's that one and that one in that team. They're going to kill us, and it was always 72-0 or something.
72,
and that's a lot, isn't it? But as I said, we said, well, let's just give up. Said, well, no, we're here for playing it, so it doesn't matter. But we weren't the very best of teams. But as I said, I wasn't playing there to be anything great, and I didn't have any illusions that I was anything good at it, but it was just such good fun to get in and get a lot of good friends on that. But I thought that's about the only sport I really got involved in that I really enjoyed. So, but other than that, never did much in the cricket, the football, the soccer. But I must say, since doing the ice hockey, now I understand what the football or the soccer is all about. Because that has quite the same sort of. It's sort of the same sort of thing. The only thing is the lines move, whereas hockey, it stays there, doesn't it? So when the puck goes out of bounds, that's because you hit the puck over there and no players over there. But that line changes with the player, doesn't it, in soccer? So.
Like you say, we had just played. They were just getting into it whenever I was getting out of high school, and so they were just getting started. And so I had played, 2 or 3 games or matches or whatever you call the soccer games. Played that in a year, and I ended up playing goalie because the first thing they said was, okay, they were looking at a book and trying to figure out the rules for this new sport we were going to be starting. And they said, okay, first position we're going to fill is goalie. We need somebody that's not afraid to dive on the ground. And everybody looked at me. And it was like, oh, okay. So, I was the aggressive guy. So the first game we played, there was 6 inches of mud in the goal. And which, I thought, well, okay. So I dove. I actually stopped the ball from rolling in at one point. I dove and dropped about 4 feet short and slid through the mud and tapped it with my fingers, and it went around the outside. So it worked out good. Then the second game we played, the ground was frozen.
Oh.
And I found out just how nice mud could be. Because if the ground's frozen, it's like wham, and then where the mud was in there before, it's all jagged and rough, And so I come out of there kind of bruised and broken after that second game, but I did appreciate the mud a lot more after that.
But I do remember my first few games where you just get so excited and you think, oh, there's nobody there, and you just hit the puck. Oh, but then you forget there's an offside rule that you can't you can't hit it straight across. You can't hit it all the way down there. You've got to have somebody. You've got to get the puck's got to go over the centre line, and then you've got to hit it. So you can't just hit it from one end of the rink to the other one to the goal. And then our team quite often had the goalie would stop one, and when he was looking to what he's done, kick it into the goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all that stuff on, and he's got even more stuff than everybody else does, and so because he has to take these direct shots, and so it's just kind of like, where to go.
I always think it's such a hard job being a goalie, because you can never win, because if you lose a game, it's because the goalie didn't stop enough. And if you win the game, it's because the team was good enough to keep the things away from the goalie.
Right, and so he didn't have to worry about it.
He never seems to win, the poor goalie. It's always his fault if they lose, but never his fault if they win. So.
Even though we didn't have any actual hockey going on around here, there was a joke that circulated a few years ago. And it was talking about that as this father was taking his son to the arena for the hockey game for their favorite pro team, they found a wallet laying on the ground, and it turns out it was the goalie's wallet. Oh. And so they found it, and so they went and turned it in, and the goalie was just thrilled and really appreciated it, and of course wanted to reward them, for being honest and stuff. And of course, it gave the chance for the little boy to meet the goalie and everything like that. And so they went to, he took him to this restaurant, and, and so there was a big thing. And then, of course, the newspapers got a hold of it, and the headline for it was Father, Son, and Goalie Host.
Oh, the goalie host. Some of these advertising people and that, they come up with some fantastic headlines, don't they? And you just think, how did anybody think about that? But somebody must have just said, hang on, that rhymes. And that's good. Holy Ghost. Yeah, that's... But it's just amazing how things like that happen anyway. So have you been doing anything fantastic with tech or anything this week? Or?
Actually, I have had such an amazing low-tech vacation. I have been tempted. I've gone on to ACX and looked at some, books that I may plan to audition for, and just kind of picking one or two here lately. But I've been outside. We went and ran around, went to some antique shops. We went to some yard sales, or you might call it a tag sale or a rummage sale, whatever you call it. We did that one day with my brother. My brother, the audiobook narrator, we actually got to spend, we went and had dinner with him one day, and then this past Friday, we spent the whole day with them, had breakfast, went and did some yard selling, came back here, had dinner here, and it was late in the day before, late in the night, actually, before they left, and so we spent the whole day with them, so that was nice. Hadn't seen them in a few years, actually. But I got to ask him a little bit about his experiences with the audiobook narration, and at this point he's been doing it, I believe, 4 years or 5 years. And he's been more or less full-time. I think he took about 6 months off at one time, but he just does it whenever he gets them. And I was asking him, I was concerned about, I got the first audiobook I ever auditioned for, and then I've done about 4 or 5 more auditions, and I hadn't gotten another book yet. And so I was kind of curious, is it my accent, or is it, that type of thing, or, whatever's going on. And he said that no, he has auditioned for about 200 books, and he has actually gotten 40 of them. Yeah. Out of that 200. So, that's just under 25%. And now he's starting to get multiples. He just now actually closed a 10 book deal with one of the people he had done some work with before, and these are shorter things, an hour and a half, that type of thing. But I think, so he just set up with this guy. This guy contacted him and said, "Hey, how many do you want?"
But I think,
and he said, "How about 10?"
I think, like we said last week, though, about this, it's you've got to really, it's you just got to market yourself and get out there. That's sort of the key to all of these things, because, as I said, there's no right voice. It's just the voice that they want at the time, and it's, it's like the look of some people as well. It's just what do they want at this time.
And he's, of course, being the brother, I could be indelicate enough to ask him how much money he was making. And he's making, a few hundred a month off of it. And that is nickel and diming most of the 40 books, but he has one that just took off. And it's doing really, really super well. And he showed me how many books he had sold. I can't remember how many thousand that he had sold, that had been sold of the books he had narrated. And so he's actually doing really well with that. For myself, I have, other than spending time talking with him, and we actually came over here and he showed me some software that he had, and I showed him my setup over here, and let him see the booth and everything like that. And we got in there and closed the door in the booth, and then he was clapping, and say, "Man, it's dead in here." I said, yeah, that was the whole plan. Where they've been on the move, where his wife's been a travel nurse, he hasn't been able to set up such a permanent system like I have. And so he was really excited about that, about my booth and everything. But most of what I've been doing, other than that interaction with him, I've been mowing grass, and I cleaned the gutter out, and there's a whole bunch of things that that I just wanted to do and get the place looking good for wintertime, that type thing.
Yes, well, me, I've been not doing a great deal tech-wise, but we didn't have a tech down over this week. Because Rick had been down in San Diego for the Learning Development Conference that they had down there. So we'd been working down there. So when he got back, he had to sort of catch up on a bit of real work. So I said, "Don't worry about that. We do it for fun. So that can be done when you've caught up." But I managed to. Rick and I did catch up on Skype and just had a call Saturday night his time and Sunday afternoon my time. And we still had a 2-hour chat anyway, so about things, because of that. But that's how we started the show in the first place, just having a chat. But now I know I can do a show, so if we don't have a guest, I can certainly do the show with him as on the other one, same as we're doing here. So, but also as well, what I've been doing is, I don't know if I said last week, but I've got a Canovo slider, and it's 120 centimeters wide, which is extremely long for that, which is good, because sliders, the longer the better, and there's only one more. I think there's 150, but with the Canovo, they're so well built, the weigh a ton. And then I got the electronic pan and tilt head, which puts another load of weight on that. But a long story short, I had that a while back, but I hadn't really got into it. So I thought I'll set it up again and try and figure out all the timings on that. So that's what I've been trying to learn. And how do I make it use it as a time-lapse device? That was okay, but it's just trying to figure out when the pan tilt, how does that go? And you've got to be careful with that, because it's got like motors in there, and then you've got your expensive cameras on there. But if you say too much, it could snap off the lens or smash into the motor, because it's going down. But if you program it, then it's come and it's smash into the motor, and then the lens on the device, it'll tilt. But it said, well, if you've got a lens stuck out there, and they're fairly strong motors,
press hard against the end of it, that would, oh boy, it's scary.
Yeah, but as I said, that's what I've been trying to do. I used it. I don't know if you saw, I did a little video on that once on my channel. I did a bit of time lapse with it, and I took it out. Yes,
we saw that actually, and my wife. It's her channel that's actually on our main television down there with Roku, and so whenever I checked the subscriptions and stuff, and whenever I saw that you had that on there, we both watched it and watched the whole thing on there. So I mean, that's really cool.
The funny thing was, I wanted to do so much there, but I just got it all set up, just did all that, and then it started pouring down with rain. So that's when we quickly packing everything up, because I thought it's all good, but I thought you've got to get over that, let it get wet and do that, get a cover. But I can't do that. I thought I had thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment on it and that, but I thought I just looked at it again the other night, and I thought, gee, I didn't didn't do that too badly because I had a camera filming me, filming the time lapse, and I did a time lapse of the filming the time lapse, and I thought, hang on, that was because I did so you could see
Brilliant.
the camera moving as it went a few seconds, and I got a few seconds worth of shot before I had to pack up and run away. But I've got to get that down again because I managed to put everything in the car and take that out. But I just hope it just doesn't rain again, because I really enjoy doing it. But it's the sort of thing, if you want to do that, you've got to spend hours there. So I was thinking of buying a caravan, and then I can go, but because you'd have to go to some place, set up for 7 hours or something, and have that. Because if it was in the ideal world, it wouldn't matter. You'd go and set it up and go back 7 hours and pick it and do that. But now, if you're not sat on top of it, you turn around and take 10 steps and it's gone. So
Right.
So you've got to be extremely careful.
Well, if you do have a caravan, or what we'd call that a camper, if you do have one of those, you can have an awning that's sticking out and actually do it on a rainy day.
Yes, that's right.
While you've got your equipment under this big awning that comes out from the side of the caravan.
Yeah, that's right. I've got the car to tow one, so I thought I should, but then that's just another expense, but at least that gives you an excuse to get out and do that, because that's the thing is with photography, you just got to get out there and stay out and do things to get some good shots. I tend to be a lazy photographer. I want to go out. No, it's too cold, or it's too hot, and tend to just get put off too easily. I'm too easily discouraged, I think.
Well, like you said, just something that you got to have a burn to do, I guess. Like I say, I haven't listened to, I've listened to podcasts now for the last few years. I haven't listened to a single podcast in over 2 weeks now, because I was on vacation and I was out of my element. But one thing, we did get to do though, in our front yard, okay, way before we bought the place, the original water system for this place was a cistern, which is this huge tank that has all kinds of, it collects rainwater, and then it has a pump and a purification system. Well, they had what we call city water, public city water through here before we even bought the place. But the cistern is still sitting over on the edge of the yard, on the edge of the woods there. And anyway, so it is, again, right there on the side of the yard in the front yard, but it's about a 9 by 13 concrete pad sitting right off the edge of the yard. And I've stacked firewood on it, and I've done some other things, but I moved the firewood. It was one of the first things I did, and then get the thing cleared off, and there were some cinder blocks over there and a couple of big concrete 4 feet by say 18-inch pieces of concrete that are about so thick. And I thought, well, here's these cinder blocks and here's this concrete top. Why don't I just make some type of a table out of that, and we could sit down out there, and it's in the woods, really surrounded by the woods with the house behind you, just off the edge of the front yard, and you can see cars way down on the road below, and everything. You can sit out there and have coffee, or actually eat your dinner out there if you want to. Have a couple of chairs. And so we actually went out there yesterday afternoon, and she made these really nice baked oven ham sandwiches, and I actually had chicken sandwich too. I had 2, and we're sitting there with our drinks and with our dinner, and we're just sitting there talking and watching the traffic go by way down below through the woods. And beautiful, perfect day. I mean, to me, a perfect day is anywhere between 50 and 70, and it's just wonderful. And blue skies, a few wispy clouds, and that's something we'll probably do a little more. And now we've got that thing sitting down there; it can rain on it. You don't have to worry about your picnic table getting messed up. It'll just wash it every time it rains on it. It's all masonry, so on that patio over there. So I think we're going to start utilizing that a little more. Well,
the most exciting thing that happened with me this week was probably buying a circularized polarizing filter for my cameras.
All right.
That was good. So they're fantastic to make a difference, because I thought with summer coming on and a bit more sunlight, we'll get some. And I've seen a few shots, and it really makes a difference when you put the polarizing filter on, because you can get some lovely clear shots through water, and it just takes that edge off and just takes all that reflection away. So I got one for the FZ 1000 and the HXC 1000, the Panasonic. So I think one's a 62 and one's a 46 millimeter. So I've got both of that for them, but they're adjustable, so you can sort of set it up.
662. That's about like that, isn't it?
62.
Pretty good size.
Yeah, well, 62. Well, the Canon's 78, I think. The Canon, the standard Canon. So 60, but the 46 is quite small actually. That's for the Panasonic and that, but that's the video camera. So I'll see how that goes. Oops! I thought I heard a noise. I thought the dog had just done something. He made a sort of noise. He's looking at the other dog now and he's asleep and he can't understand why he's snoring. I think that's what he's looking at. What's that noise he's making? He can't understand that the other one's snoring. So, but as if for anybody knows, I've got a house guest, another dog here at the moment, and I don't know if he's going to keep quiet. He's looking at me now. He's coming over, so I thought I should never have looked. I should have never have looked on there. So he's made his way over here. I don't know if he's going away. He's coming back on this side. So I don't know. There's the nose. Yeah. Say hello, Hudson. Say hello, Hudson. He just doesn't want to be left out, do you, Hudson? Eh? What have you got to say for yourself for about the week? No, he said he's just being nice and quiet, and that's that's the thing. But at least he's not barking and making a noise. I was just expecting me green screen to go flying over because he was asleep behind it, and he would just go.
Your studio disappears, and all of a sudden you see this. Comes up sideways in slow motion, and there goes your studio going out the background.
That's the one thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go put this back down in my studio, because really this is upstairs outside the studio, but sort of the makeshift one where I've got it here. But I want to put it back into sort of the proper studio just by itself. I don't mind it up here, but it's just with the green screen, a bit too claustrophobic even when it's in a big, nice, wide open area. So we're just getting in and out there when you want to use your computer normally. But then again, I'll have the other problem of taking this computer down there as well, which I don't have that with this one, so I can just use this one up here. So that's the advantage with that. So
yeah, I do really like having, it looks the same behind me all the time. Of course, I don't have the whole green screen Wirecast thing going on, but all I had to do today was come in, sit down, turn on the computer, make sure my other monitor has the live feed going over here to the left, to my left.
Oh, I've lost you. You've frozen now, Jeffrey. Oh, lost you. Frozen totally. So I don't know if the stream's still going. Are you there back? Are you back?
Okay, the stream never messed up. No. I did freeze on the stream like I did on the main screen.
I kept talking, but did I freeze? But I kept talking, but I thought, oh, you've just stopped moving, and I thought so. I just went to the shot of myself, but I thought it hasn't hung up. It must be just one of those Skype things. It just I just looked at that. I thought the stream never stopped. So
yeah, I think Skype has this built-in thing that whenever whatever you're saying is boring, then it freezes for a second.
Yes.
So what I was saying was,
but if you say you love Microsoft or things like that, it gets better. If you start positively saying positive things,
I used Microsoft Windows
10
version 10, and so everything was great after that.
Wow.
But then I do have my little audio recorder over here, my Zoom H5. I've got my headphones running through that. I've got meters where I can see what I'm doing. Other than that, it's just sitting here. All I had to do was sit down, pop on the headphones, pull over the mic, turn everything on, and I'm ready to go. So I don't have to move anything. And I do have of course, this bedroom used to be my daughter's bedroom. So now it is free and, clear for me to do whatever I want to do with it. I don't have to move things around in order to do things. But I have had to do that in the past. But now it's my space.
Well, all I have to do to get ready for the show is, switch the computer on, switch the camera on, switch the vocal processor on to get the sound going out from the computer out to the XLR adapter, switch the lights on. What else do I do? Yes, put the headphones into the earphone socket so I can jimmy it so we can play it through so I can hear what you're saying at the same time, because I'm not doing it the correct way that it's supposed to do. Then I've got to go to Wirecast, make sure that that's going, then switch the virtual output on, which sends what's coming out of Wirecast back through to Skype, then go to Skype to make sure it's doing that, because the worst thing if you just start it and assume that it worked last time, so it's going to work this time. I never go by that rule because it never works like that. So if it worked last time, well, I'll still check it this time to make sure it's going to go correctly. So I do all that. Then I phone you, then Skype crashes. It has done usually. Then I phone you up. Then I phone you up again, and we make a connection, and then we come. I'll start the live stream, and we start. So that's all I have to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did say I forgot to turn the light. I did turn lights on. I do have other lighting for this, but. Yeah, it's very simple on my end compared to what you're going through over there, I think.
But then again,
now you said you have to actually get a direct line, like an Ethernet connection, down in the basement, or
that's right. Going from here, I've got
in order to move it all down there.
Yeah, because I've got to do that because I can get the perfect Wi-Fi there, but anything other than top signal, you just tend to lose it a bit, because I think even just on the way we're doing it, it's got I think you're using most of your processing power just to do this, to have a Skype call, to output it back through to YouTube as well, and back through to Skype. It is really pushing it. I think we found before when we was what did we do, we tried to record it, didn't we, once, and then that was just too much for it, because it was just too much processing power to actually do the recording as well as streaming at the same time. But then once it streams okay, so I can always go to YouTube and download it and get a copy that way, because I thought as long as the stream's okay, I didn't have to do the backup of the recording, and plus also that made it just go worse if I did that anyway. So
I did one of the things, all I'm actually doing on mine, since I'm doing an audio recording completely separate on the Zoom H5 recorder, but I'm running the Skype call on my main monitor, and then I'm watching checking out the live stream on the other monitor. That's the only things my computer's running, and I haven't checked my resources, but it doesn't seem to have any trouble with that at all. So like you said, I don't have anywhere near what you're doing.
Well, with mine, the system says I've got plenty of RAM left. It's not so much that, it's also just the process. It says I've got plenty of RAM, but it says the CPU's running at way over 80%. So I think it's over to the 90%. It says it's doing that, but I know when it gets over to the 98, it sort of starts jittering and that's what I thought had happened to you before when you just froze. But I was still going, because usually if that's the case, the whole lot just goes to pot. Like one of our first ones, whereas I was talking to you and it went silent, and then I was responding while you was talking, while you was replying to my last comment, and I couldn't even follow what I was saying, and I was actually said the word. So I thought, what on earth am I saying? I might go back and actually delete that, or just put something in its place. So this was to show, or just put subtitles on it all and do all that. Hey, I tell you what, have you ever done that for a bit of a fun? If you've got nothing else better to do, if you've seen all the YouTubes you want to see and you can't be bothered, just go to YouTube and put the auto closed captions on. It's so funny.
Oh, yes.
It's so funny some of the times. Oh God, what it picks up on that, and you think it just makes it so funny. If you read it back, I thought you could just have such a laugh. Should go on to one of our shows and see what it says about ours, because when we do speak, we don't say our words correctly. We don't say the words and have a space. We tend to have one big blurt with all words and no stop, and then it's very hard for this software to pick up these different things. I know Rick quite often uses these auto dictation things, and I got a direct message from him that said, "Be careful, the police are going round the server." And he said, I can't remember what I was saying, but it had nothing to do with that. And I said, I thought that was strange, but it had something to do, I don't know what it was, but it can pick up some something quite strange if you don't say the right things. And he was talking about his daughter the other day, and I said, yeah, the autocorrect or the speech recognition's changed her name. so I said I knew who it was, but I said it changed the name on the thing. But it's quite strange, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, it is. We watched a video yesterday that had. I was still on YouTube on the TV, and my wife, we both sat and watched this YouTube video that was what it would be like if a pharmaceutical company actually told the truth in one of their commercials.
Oh yes.
And they've got this real nice guy on there, and he's talking about how his little chemical pellets, he wants you to take these, and he doesn't know how this actual, how depression actually works, but we're going to we want you to take our little chemical pellets. And so if we get enough people to take these, and since we're not allowed to directly try to tell you to take something, but we can suggest it, show enough happy scenes with it to make you feel like that's what's going to happen if you take our chemical pellets, and then you will coerce your doctor into giving them to you. Oh. And we are not probably helping most of the people who actually do this. They think they have depression, they don't, but there's a placebo effect that happens. And if enough people, just take our chemical pellets, then we will make all kinds of money. And this, it was just this great thing all the way through. But I think what would be funny, and I haven't seen this yet. I probably shouldn't give it away to our hundreds and hundreds of viewers, but I think it would be funny to actually have things that you're saying, like, you're doing a video and you're just talking seriously about something like that. Have subtitles at the bottom that are what you really are saying. I mean, actually make a real comical subtitles that you actually put on the video. We're talking about, this is a wonderful day for, politics in America. And, we have such wonderful candidates, and we are so excited about the election that's coming up on November 8th. And, and down at the bottom, it's telling what you're really thinking about this. And I think.
But have you ever seen, there was a film with Dudley Moore, and it's called Crazy People. Have you seen that film? On that, well, of course, what that was, it was Dudley Moore's an advertising executive that's just had enough of life. He's just, he's just got to chill out. So he checks himself into an insane asylum just to get some rest, to get some medical treatment. And one of the things he was doing there, just a bit of therapy. He was just, all the accounts he had, he just wrote the copy what he thought about the product, not what the company was wanting him to do. So he had all these things, and somebody accidentally picked them up and put them to press. But what it turned out to, though, they did so well because of the truth in it. People just loved how horrible they were and how truthful they were. And he said, well, I was just here doing that. So what he did, he said, that was just crazy, those ideas. So he came up with this idea. Well, I'm in an insane asylum. Let's get the inmates to come up with some really crazy ideas. And so they were doing all these advertising things, and they were sending truckloads of cards and money over. There was just getting all this money, because it was making a fortune out of this advertiser, just truthful advertising. It was if you ever get it's an old film, but you probably get it probably on Netflix for nothing if you see. But Crazy People, it was and there's one fella in there that does a lot of the designing, and all he says through the whole film is hello, 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 and that's he just talks with the word hello when he's having a conversation. And that's all he says through the whole lot. Oh, hello, 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 hello. But that's quite similar to that one you were saying, with just saying the real thing, but it happened to make a good point on that. But Dudley Moore's no longer with us these days, is he? He's gone by the wayside now.
Yeah, it's going to happen to all of us eventually, I guess.
Well, that's right.
Have you seen that channel called Honest Movie Trailers?
No.
Okay, you have to check this out. I mean, because that's what they're doing. They're actually doing movie reviews or trailers of these movies. And for instance, and it's stating the obvious of what you see, but you just never heard it said before. Like the first of the new Star Trek movies that came out, everybody was talking about how much, he goes, and whenever you start the movie, the first thing you will notice are lens flares, and then more lens flares, and finally, even more lens flares. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff like that. We're talking about the quirks of the shows, and the guy just has a great, in a world type of voice. Is talking about this stuff, and it's funny, but they do these what they call honest trailers of all of these different movies that are around, that are coming out and have come out and stuff like that. And there's tons of them on there. It's called honest. It's either honest trailers or honest movie trailers. It's just something you really got to check out, because, they did one for Lord of the Rings, and they're talking about, and, there are so many exciting things on this show. There's walking, and there's more walking, and even more walking, and then armies walking. And they just tell what actually happens in the movie. It's just funny.
Well, that's the thing I find. The things like that. That's why I thought the Lord of the Rings is. To me, they start off from there, do a lot of walking all around here, have all these perils, and come back to where they started off from, and all they've done is found a ring or something, haven't they? Or someone given one away or something. But they've really got. If they just left it alone, their whole lives would have been exactly the same, I think. But I thought they should have just left it. So.
There was a Lord of the Rings reference last night on NCIS. They had a new episode last night, my wife's favorite show, and I'm off on Tuesday nights, so we always sit and watch it together. And there was one where the guy was planning on at a specific time when the sun came over the Washington Monument with all the symmetry, and it actually touched that one day a year when it touched the Capitol, the steps of the U.S. Capitol all the way down across the reflecting pool. And they're both nerds, and so the symmetry and the mathematics of it all, and he was going to propose to her then. And the other lady said, well, that's not supposed to happen until next March, right? It's like 6 months or so. And so he goes, yes, but it'll be perfect, don't you think? And so he asked her so that he wouldn't be so nervous when he was around his fiance or future fiance to keep the ring for him. And he said, will you be my Frodo? And a little bit later, she actually said, said something about, she goes, okay, I'm going to put it right here in the desk drawer. It's in a secured federal building, all kinds of agents around. Nobody will ever find it. And she said, keep it secret, keep it safe. And so he walked up a little later and decided that no, life was too precious and too short based on the case he had done, that he didn't want to wait and he wanted to do it right then. And so he walks over to her desk drawer, hits the top of the thing, the drawer pops open, and he pulls the ring out and just, don't even have to unlock the drawer, And so it was funny how secure this was in her desk drawer, but he knew the little quirk on her desk on how to make that drawer pop open, and then he went and actually proposed to the girl in the elevator. Just right then, because, life was too precious, and he just didn't want to wait now.
Well, with this saying about, movie trailers and all that, I remember somebody saying, when teaching people about how to make videos and film, and they said, if you want to see how to do it, watch movie trailers. And they said the snappier the movie trailer, the quicker, the more action, the better it is. It says usually the worse the film is, because they haven't got that much so they've got to cover it. Don't show you too long of this because it won't hold up. So they said just show you up and it goes again. They said if they show it too long, it will give it away that it's no good. And how many times do you go to a film that you see, well, that 30 seconds on the trailer was pretty much all it was. There was 2 hours and a bit of just filling other things, but really sometimes they give the whole thing away in 30 seconds showing it, and well, actually I don't need to see the film anymore now. So very strange.
Well, that's one of the things they talk about on the Cinema Toast Crunch podcast my friends have. They're talking about that sometimes once they've seen the trailer, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, we don't even remember seeing that stuff in the movie, and there was very, very little of anything in the movie. And then there's sometimes, a couple of times, they've complained that they actually told the resolution of the movie, what was risked and then what was accomplished, and they've basically given you the whole story in that 30 seconds and didn't leave anything to imagination. They told you the whole thing.
And what's
And
another?
so it was like, why?
And another good thing to do if you're studying movies and that is you just watch something without the sound and just realize how much sound makes that big difference to it. So it's just, or if you just get if you can find something which just got the audio, the voices, but with no music, no sound effects, and see how dull it sounds on there. But it just goes to show all the different things that does make up a movie. I tend to find myself now when I'm watching a movie, because you're interested into it, seeing, I wonder how they got that camera shot and how they did the different pans and that. But I'd love to get into a lot of other filming, but it's just doing it right and getting the right equipment, and just actually I could get the right equipment, it's just using it though, that's usually the main problem. So
Well, then you would have to wear all the hats that it takes to make a movie, not just, well, okay, you're the videographer, well, you're the sound engineer, well, you are the producer, you are the director, you are the script writer, but you do have two assistants over in the corner right now with noses that can stick up into the screen every now and then, and maybe they could help you a little bit with your movie making.
I was just going to say, if there's an almighty noise, I noticed both of the dogs have left me now, so they're both going down the stairs, and I can hear them milling round downstairs or down the stairs, but there's a thing on the stairs that they can't get out, so because I don't like them going where I don't know. I can't keep my eye on them, because I thought when you don't know where they are, sometimes you go down there and something's chewed up. At least if I've got them here, I know where they are. So they've come back,
they can chew the equipment you can see.
That's right. Yes, that's right. They can chew the equipment. Well, the most important ones I'll put right down here. I've got my cameras right here, so I can. So I'm in hitting distance if I need to grab a dog or something to stop them from eating. Oh, now they're both settled down again there, but they're really not bad dogs. They haven't been barking or anything, and my one's been there fast asleep. But and he upset the other one and took him downstairs just for the second. So he's most disgusted that I'm not sitting with him. I think that's his most big annoyance anyway. So,
So who does Hudson belong to?
a friend of mine, and she's gone away for, I think, to Queensland for a week or so. So, and then she's coming back and going for another few days. But I said, well, he can stay here for the whole time. Don't come and visit him, but don't take him back, because at least he gets used to being here. And then he can have a visit from you. Then you go away again, rather than taking him home for a couple of days and bringing him back. But he's no trouble really. He's just this morning I got a wet nose poked me in the face this morning. Said, "Oh, isn't it time to get up?" And it was. But I said, "I don't want you telling me that." He said, "Oh, isn't it time to get up?" Whereas mine sort of says, "Oh, do we have to get up?"
Our cat is kind of bad about when it starts getting daylight outside. He wants to wake my wife up, and because it sleeps on you, and around you. Spent about. I was downstairs last night watching some. No, I was actually playing Skyrim, believe it or not, and the cat slept at my feet on the couch for about 3 hours, and then. Whenever it came upstairs, then it noticed that the daylight was kind of casting about, and it'll sit there for a little while, but then it starts poking around her face, trying to get her to get up, because hey, it's time to get up now, and she wasn't ready to get up because she had stayed up pretty late herself. So that animals do have an idea about when they think you should do things, and sometimes we have to comply. And
with when I get told by them that they're awake, I listen to them, because every time I haven't, there's been an accident or something. And he said, well, yeah, I can't blame them. They did tell me, said, hey, are you getting up? Because they want to get up. And you think, well, if they like mine doesn't, but if he does get up, we'll let him out. But William can go 18 hours without doing anything. He just can sit there and go to sleep. But poor old Hudson, I don't think he could say 18 hours. Could you, Hudson? He's there.
Well, my brother and his wife, when they had their dog, they brought their dog over, And our cat just went upstairs and just looked like, what is that? And it's the first time I'd ever seen her, because she's such a comfortable cat and so sweet and so quiet. This is the first time I'd seen her tail swelled up and the hair on her back was up in the air. And Buddy, she, of course, we never have any dogs inside the house, and she went upstairs. What they have a Papillon.
Oh.
The little tiny dog with the huge ears, and it's real cute and everything. Well, the dog enjoys playing. The cat just stayed upstairs and wasn't going to have anything to do with the dog. But the dog was running around, and they took that dog out. They were here probably 5 or 6 hours after we got done doing what we were doing, out and about. And then so they took the dog out probably once an hour.
Oh.
And so, they just kept taking the dog out. And, they're at somebody's house, and, they know we're not as much into dogs. So they just, wanted to make sure they took care of business and there wasn't any problems. And anyway, the dog, and so we'd been playing. The dog likes you to throw things, and it got a couple of the cat's toys and started grabbing them and, and then chewing on them, and then we'd throw them, and they would, okay. Well, as soon, I'd been sitting on the couch at a particular place, and I'd been there for 2 or 3 hours, watching something. We were all talking. And then all of a sudden we went into the kitchen, and we're all, doing something in there for a while. All of us were. When we came back, I came back and sat down on the couch, and she had peed right in my seat on the couch while we were gone. And it was kind of like, I guess I wasn't as much of an alpha male as I thought I was. No. But she peed right, nice big spot right on the couch. And of course I sat right down and I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking, okay, was this a statement that was being made to me or something? I don't know, but
yeah. Well, as I said, I'm being told now, as I said, Hudson's having a cry now, so I think we're nearly getting to the end of it, because I think we started a bit early, so we might nearly be at the end of it, so I might need to go shortly. But I always remember we had one of the things with the horses, and that Joanne, who owns Hudson, and that before she had Hudson and we had all our other dogs, we used to go down riding on a Saturday, and Saturdays used to be the animals' days. So we used to I had 2, the German Shepherd and William, and then she had 2 there, and somebody else had 1, and the property had 2. And then somebody else had, so we used to have 6 or 7 dogs all down there, and there was one cat that used to live there at the place. And we all came round once, and there was all playing round, and then we saw all the dogs, and we thought, the cat was on the ground, and we thought they've killed it. It's there dead, and there's all the dogs there, and it was a ginger cat, because you could see it was all soaking wet. You thought it looked like they ripped it to bits, but no. All the dogs, they'd all licked it that much. It was soaking wet, but it was on its back with its claw, and it was purring like mad, because all these dogs were prodding and poking, and it was loving it. And I thought, it's amazing how cats, if they're not frightened of dogs, they're okay. It's just when they run, that's what dogs, they love to chase. But if the cat doesn't, like I know I had one years ago, and we had the dogs, and this little kitten just walked into the backyard. Just this little kitten, meow, meow. And these big dogs, I thought it would have eaten it, but it didn't know that it was supposed to be frightened of dogs. So it just went up to meow, meow. And it was okay. And I think I've told you before that it just stayed around forever. It stayed from kitten until 14 years later, until it died. And it said, it never came in the house, wouldn't come in the house, wouldn't leave the property, but just stayed in the backyard with the dogs, or maybe sat on the fence. That was about as close as it got to get outside. Slept in a dog kennel all the time, and they said, but when it died in the dog kennel, and the dogs would never go in that dog kennel anymore. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we had a dog that was given to us. Of course, when you live out in the country and people live in the city, and they have a problem with an animal, they look for somebody in the country to give it to. And so they had this dog that was just murdering all the neighborhood cats, and it was running around, on their street and just chasing all the cats and causing all kinds of trouble. So they gave us this dog. And so the dog is sitting there minding its own business, and it's all acclimated, and it lives at our house now, and everything's fine. But then there was a kitten that ended up showing up. And so the dog we kind of kept them separated for a while, but then the dog all of a sudden is loose, and the dog comes bearing down on that kitten, and going, and the kitten is like, whap.
Yeah, it stopped.
The dog went,
oh.
it was just kind of like, and it went, whap. Just like, and it wasn't within a day or two, they were chasing each other around the yard, and the dog would chase the cat, and the cat would roll over on its back, and the dog would get down and start chewing on the cat's ears and stuff, and then the dog would jump up, and the cat would chase the dog and jump up on the dog's back, and they would roll in the grass, and they were just fast friends and just had the best time ever. And it was exactly that. The cat was not afraid. And that's why they were able to become friends, even this dog that was used to chasing cats. And so it was pretty funny.
I do like
they were just the best of friends for the rest of their lives, actually.
I do like cats, but it just gets awkward to have them these days because you've got to keep them in. People don't like you having that because they get out and hear the complaint about them killing the wildlife and things like that. So you've got to keep.
Sometimes you have to measure in tons how much they actually go out and kill and stuff. Now, our cat, we have it's a full-time indoor cat, and we have a big enough house to where that isn't a problem. But and then again, we've actually carried her outside and let her see the outside and stuff like that. But we live in the woods, and so it's not like she's going to other people's houses or anything if she were to be loose, but she's completely inside. She's a companion animal for my wife, where my wife's disabled, and the cat's just here. It's a lap kitty. They're just, they're just buds. And so, she's actually talked to, and the cat talks back, and, and so they're just really, really super close, and it works out really well for her to have a companion.
But did you see last week when we the show? I don't know if you might not have seen, but I played my video.
Yes,
and
then we watched it on the actual YouTube channel the other day.
Did you notice I changed the front music?
Well, what happened was it was so jittery on whenever we were seeing it on the show. That I couldn't hear.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't hear steady music or the picture either, and I knew I could see obviously it was the same video, but I did not have a chance to catch any of the detail whenever you actually played it on the show.
The funny thing was, YouTube said there was a copyright infringement on that first 20 seconds of the video on that. So, but I know it's not, but I don't monetize it. So it said, but you're fine to use it. The artist doesn't mind. They're going to get money out of it. So, but I do all my things through audio blocks, but I changed it anyway when I put it on the YouTube because I don't like having that if they think it, and I'm too small to be bothered challenging it. I'm not making any money out of it, so I don't really care. So, but as I said, it was okay, but because I wasn't monetizing it, because I don't bother, because I know these people who do hundreds of thousands of views a week and millions of views over months, they might make $600 or $700, and I said, I'm never going to make 100,000 views on anything. I don't think so. And I think you get 1/100th of a penny or something per 1,000 views or something, don't you? Or something.
One of the things I thought was really, really cool about that video was right down at the end where you added the airplanes coming over the interstate. Every so often I'll see something on the screen and I'll turn around and look at my wife and see what her expression is. And she's watching, and all of a sudden she's gone.
but I just like that because it just looks so real, doesn't it, though?
And I said, no. And she goes, and I said, no. I said, he actually took I said, I showed you that other video before, and I said he actually took part of that and put it over on that one. She goes, oh, okay.
But the thing
just looked like, oh no, you're standing there and this airplane come over your head.
I said the thing that makes that work though is because I did a mask on it, so I made it come from behind the bridge, whereas normally it was just flying there. But that makes it look like it's so. I copied the shot from below, blanked out the sky, and then made that come through there. So that made the difference on there. You see, so that was the thing. So
yeah, like I say, you have some cool video capabilities. I think that stuff's really cool, and I enjoy seeing the stuff you put out.
Anyway, we're on the end screen, so it looks like we're nearly up finished. Well, I think we've gone over our time because we're nearly 10 o'clock my time, and we started about 10:02, didn't we? So we've already gone about 10 minutes over. But next week will be show 24. So yeah. So thank you everybody for watching. Well, hopefully somebody's watching anyway. But if not, we just do this for a bit of fun every week and use our equipment and all that. It would be great if we could get some people in the chat room and sort of, if they want to talk
I'm
about
always
something.
looking to see if there is.
It's a funny time. Six in the morning there, and 9:10 at nearly 10 at night here. So there's on a weekday. So I don't think there's going to be much happening. So.
Oh, you never know. Like you said, there might be somebody in some other part of the world that's not such an oppressive time.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Bye for now.
Yeah.